All right, so in this video, I just wanted to kind of share my results from Viome to really help anybody who may just want to know more about what this functional metabolic analysis is really about. For me, it was more so about finding out how my body's unique needs was influencing my overall health so that I could better understand what I needed to give myself in order to feel a whole lot better. So after you've completed your tests, you will then get your customized recommendations and results. And here I'm just on the home page here. You can see this is about 69 days after my last test that I sent in, which was in December, I believe. So right here on the home page is telling me my daily superfood is broccoli, and it's letting me know what my supplement recommendations are. You can click on that to see any type of ingredients that they recommend you should have based on your test results. So I have about 29 nutrients, and they're all listed here. And then as far as the prebiotics and probiotics, they have those recommendations here as well. Now, this is the supplemental part to your testing. You can choose to do this if you want to, in which they will create those products for you and then send them to you on a monthly basis. Now, here is a list of the types of foods that they are going to recommend based on your unique microbiome and what it is doing. I have my settings to exclude meat, poultry, and fish and shellfish because I eat primarily a vegetarian diet, but sometimes I will add those items in, and you can just click to turn that on or off if you want, and then it will include those items for you. It gives you a breakdown of the types of foods you can eat all the time, which you should eat all the time. Those are going to be your superfoods. You can see that. It'll show you all of those foods. And these are the ones that you're going to want to eat all the time if you can. And get a variety of these foods. So when you're shopping, you have a list right here to follow. Foods that you can enjoy are going to be foods that you can eat on a regular basis. Of course, all things in moderation. Your foods that you can minimize, meaning you can have them maybe once a week, once or twice a month, no more than that. And then if you want to click on avoid, these are the foods that they recommend you should absolutely stay away from. And it's going to vary and be different based on what your microbiome is doing. From my first test, I had a list of maybe like 8 or 9 items. And as you can see here, I only have 5. So things change. And you just want to pay attention to it. If you do the retest, they recommend every 6 months or so because your microbiome is constantly changing. You can check based on your latest results and see how that changes. Now, when you open up your scores, and you will see this after you've done your test, it'll give you your health scores, your functional scores, and it pretty much tells you anything that you need to know about your body's health. I think this was the full body intelligence test that I did, and as you can see, I've done multiple tests, and this was the most recent one here in December, like I mentioned above. So here it's telling me, my gut health is average. Cellular health and energy efficiency is not optimal. So this is something that I have to cue into. And what it's basically telling me here there is that my cells are showing signs that they may not be getting enough of the nutrients that they need. And that could be possibly related to any excess stressors that I may be experiencing, inflammation, environmental toxins, and those, for me, I think it's more so of the stressors. I had a really stressful time, going on back since September and just was dealing with a lot. So I know my gut was probably responding to that. Immune system health, pretty good. Inflammation response, pretty good. And my biological age here is about right. Now, when looking back at earlier results that I had, I think it may have been my July test results, my biological age was at 40. So it was actually showing that my body was actually aging a lot quicker than it needed to. And so from those test results, I decided that I needed to do more to slow that down, pay more attention to whatever oxidative stress might have been going on in my body, and see what I can do to slow that down, because you don't want to be aging faster than you need to, right? Looking at the functional scores over here is telling me what my inflammatory activity is looking like, my metabolic fitness, digestive efficiency, which I think on my first test, this was below average. So I had to work more on that. I've gotten my gut lining health under control. I think my first test will show that I was probably experiencing more leaky gut there. Protein fermentation has been something I've had to constantly work on. In my earlier results, I was not doing so well here, and that's when it was recommended that I take more enzymes with every meal. So I really started to pay attention and do that, and this has improved. Further down, my mitochondrial health is not optimal. And what that is telling me is that my cells are showing signs that they are not receiving enough energy to function properly. So now I have to think about, like, what does that mean? What is weighing my body down to where I'm not getting enough energy? How can I produce more ATP or produce more mitochondria? Now, I know that the science behind that pretty much says, you need to exercise more, you need to move more, you need to create more mitochondria, and that can be hard. But when you click on it, it will basically give you this little nice graph here to show you, what your scores are over time. You're trying to get up here in the green, of course. And what it's telling me down here, that if my mitochondrial health score is not optimal, it could mean that my cells are not receiving enough energy to function properly. And that's going to contribute to that accelerated aging and poor metabolism, cardiovascular and brain health, which means weight gain, high blood pressure, and dementia. And we don't want that. So the supplement recommendations that they will give me will include nutrients that will hopefully boost my mitochondria production or help me to make more mitochondria. And then there will also be other coenzymes needed to increase my cellular ATP levels. And they'll have recommendations in there for things I need to do. It gives you a little breakdown, help you to understand what mitochondria are, which are the powerhouses of your cells in your body. And it tells you different things that you can or just gives you like an overall view of where the average person may stand here. So for me, I fell in the not optimal range, which means I need to work on that. So that's it for mitochondrial health. What else was going on? So my immune system activation was not optimal this time. And that could indicate an imbalance of immune activity, which can impair your body's ability to respond appropriately to threats. Now, when you click on that, it gives you a breakdown of what's going on. And it kind of tells you that, your immune system keeps you alive by activating at the right time to fight off threats if you're exposed to viruses and things like that. But when you're not and your body's just overreacting, then that can be what is known as too much immune system activation, and that can be damaging to your body. So this may be what's going on here. Like, my immune system is working well for me and keeping me well, but it's probably overreactive, meaning that it's not shutting down when it needs to or backing off, or in fact, it could be attacking my body. And that could be a response, or that could be manifesting as some of the skin issues that I experience sometimes after I eat certain things. Then I'll have all these rashes and burning. And we know that to be autoimmune, in which the immune system is just overreacting. And so it gives you some information here to kind of read, to tell you what to do about that. I did start working on my histamine response. So I pay more attention to to try not to eat foods that are gonna make me produce more histamine, or high histamine foods, to kind of help with that. Your pathway activities are very important. It pretty much tells you important things about how your microbiome is responding and the biochemical reactions that happen that happens when you're breaking down foods and what's left. So that can be methane, which is going to be your gas production. This has a lot to do with bloating, and that was a big issue of mine. I was very concerned about. So this is helping me here to understand that more. What's going on with these test results is showing that my LPS biosynthesis pathways are not optimal. Now, what that means is that my microbiome is producing a lot of LPS, and LPS is known to trigger inflammation. So we don't want that. LPS, it can happen when your gut bugs are breaking down certain foods, it's kind of like they spit this out as like the waste product or the byproduct after breaking down certain things. So it's just kind of something that happens in the body, and the most that you can really do to prevent it is to take something like an IgG product that will help to absorb this LPS and get it out of your body. Now, what this is saying here is that LPS is a pro-inflammatory molecule that gut microbes make, and that can trigger your immune system response, especially if it gets into your bloodstream through the gut lining. Now, if the gut's leaky, then that will contribute to that. And then producing this LPS will also make the gut lining more susceptible, or make the gut lining open up a little bit more, so things start to leak out of your gut when it's supposed to stay in there. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to that. All right, so going back here, let's see, anything else? Everything else looked pretty average for me on this the test. Is the mitochondria again, and so that was really all that I came to focus on with these test results, is just working more on the mitochondria. If I had to look back at my first test results, let's see what was going on here. Like I said, my gut health was out of whack at that time, so that I knew I had to work on that. My inflammatory activity was out of whack at the time. And let's see, this is where I mentioned earlier the protein fermentation. I was not processing protein properly, and that was causing harmful byproducts, which probably contributed to me having a leaky gut, and hence my gut health was not so good back then. My butyrate production pathways were not optimal, and look, my LPS was actually good. So now I have to think about, like, well, what changed? I know, for instance, I was still probably eating primarily a plant-based diet at this time. So I can't really say that anything changed there. Maybe just over time, my body started to process or respond a whole lot differently, because, like I said, the microbiome changes as a result of what you're eating. But as you can see, I had more reds than greens when I first started to test back in 2019. So to have come as far as I have, like, things have, changed over time. For looking at my results, like, some of them got worse before they got better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with my results and how things have gone, because having this type of breakdown in front of me has really helped me to see and know what it is that my body specifically needs. Because one of the main things was I used to eat spinach all the time. I used to eat tomato paste all the time. And in fact, those were the two main things that came up on my first test that I needed to avoid. Stuff like strawberries. I used to eat strawberries a lot, and here it's telling me that I need to avoid them. So now, like, when I go grocery shopping, I know the types of foods I can throw in my cart and be happy about having. It looks differently on the phone, but this is me showing you on the computer because I was just trying to make this video a little bit better. But you'll have this right on your phone, and you'll be able to take it with you any and everywhere you go. You can pull it up. You can share your results with your doctor or your health professionals or whomever you're working with. Anything that you want to come on here and learn, it's all here with colorful, nice pictures, descriptions, whatever you need. You'll also have access to any types of sales or discounts that they have going on. Any questions you might have, there's the Education Center, where there are plenty of webinars and different healthcare professionals and scientists in here that will give you the information you need so that you can learn more, become your biggest advocate, because at the end of the day, take accountability for your health and what you can do to improve your overall health and wellness by knowing exactly what your body needs. It's different for everybody. And I am just, pleased with how this has gone for me. And I would definitely recommend it if you can. Go ahead, click the link, get on here, learn about what you can do for your body. Use the discount code that I've provided, WELLLIVE30, that's WELLLIV 30, to get you $30 off. I will also post any other sales that come about, and I am looking forward to helping you in any way that I can. Reach out if needed to learn more about how to get this test and how to do it. And yeah, take better care of yourself and feel better. And until next time, be well.